My name is Tiffany. I'm 32. The event was my sister's wedding rehearsal dinner. The hall smells like new linen and wet roses. Light hums off the silver trays. Glasses clink in uneven rhythm. My mother stands near the table, one hand on Jenna's shoulder. She lifts her phone, reads aloud a text she sent an hour ago. Don't come tomorrow. You and your kids make things awkward. Her voice is flat, almost kind. The words land sharp in the quiet. Someone laughs. Forks pause midair. I stay seated. The paper folder rests in my lap, the venue invoice with my signature on every line. My name in black ink. Paid in full. It feels heavier than the wine glass beside it. Across the table, Jenna leans back, smiling. Mom's just being honest, she says. Her friends nod. The kind of nods people use when cruelty is casual. I keep my face still. My fingers touch the edge of the receipt, tracing the number I transferred last month. Senmeyen. Babe. Their laughter moves through the room like static. A waiter shifts nearby, pretending not to look. The venue manager stands at the corner, clipboard in hand, watching the exchange with the small confusion of someone who knows who actually paid for tonight. My breath stops halfway. The glass stem between my fingers doesn't shake. The folder stays on my lap. The laughter fades, replaced by the low hum of air vents. I stare at the white cloth beneath my plate, smooth and untouched. My pulse settles. Around me, chairs scrape. People speak softly again, pretending the moment never happened. Jenna's fiancé clears his throat. My mother lifts her glass, changing the subject to weather, flowers, anything lighter than what just cracked open. I nod when someone looks at me. A quiet gesture to keep peace. No one deserves. The folder still lies on my lap. I press it closed, one finger marking the total at the bottom. I picture the coordinator's face when I handed her my card last month. Her polite thank you. No one here knows that every candle, every plate, every rented chair exists under my name. A drop of water slides from the chilled glass and runs down my hand. I don't move to wipe it. Stillness holds the room like frost. I let it. Across the table, the waiter meets my eyes for half a second, understanding something he shouldn't. He looks away, pretending to refill a glass. Inside, the noise turns distant. I hear my own breath, slow and measured. The humiliation folds into something sharper, cleaner. I don't speak. I don't rise. My lawyer was already waiting for my call. I lift my glass, take one calm sip, and set it down exactly where it was. The air feels lighter, though no one notices. They think silence means surrender. It doesn't. But before I tell you how I got here, you need to know where it began. It didn't start at that dinner. It didn't start with a text. It started years earlier, under bright kitchen lights, plates drying on a towel. At our table, seats were fixed. Jenna, by Mother. Megan across. I took the end chair that wobbled. Mother passed bowls to Jenna first. Compliments followed the same route. I set knives straight and nodded. That was the pattern. Birthdays came like appointments. Jenna's cake had sparklers and a speech. Mine had a candle already half melted. Megan's trophies stayed on the mantel. My report cards slid into a drawer. Father's old photograph watched from the hallway, its frame slightly crooked, never touched. I learned the sound of praise from a distance. The clink, the breath, the scripted cheer were so proud. Aimed past me. My plate cooled while I refilled water. I memorized the waterline on every glass. I kept my hands steady. On school concert night, Jenna forgot her sheet music. Mother clapped anyway. When I won a county math prize, Mother said, "Good. Now help your sisters." The microshock landed as a sentence, light as dust. Chairs scraped. I folded the ribbon in my palm until the crease held. Later, I sat at the end chair alone, tracing the grain of the table. The overhead light hummed. A drip from the faucet kept time. The photograph in the hallway leaned a little more. I straightened it, then left it leaning. The tilt, a private marker only I noticed. Comparisons came like weather reports. Jenna has charm. Megan has spark. I had utility. I boxed decorations, tallied expenses for bake sales, returned deposit slips to a tin under the sink. You're good at being useful, Mother said once, passing me the dullest knife. At holidays, the same script ran. Jenna poured the first toast. Megan posted the first photo. I checked the oven timer and cooled the roast. My breath tightened when Mother posed the family shot. You, Edge, she said, tapping the air. I held the position and the smile. The table held everything in order. The wobble in my chair stayed. I stopped asking for a new one. I learned to move without sound, to clear plates without touching conversations. My hands remembered routes the rest of me skipped. The photograph kept its lean. Year after year, I watched hierarchy laid out in silver and steam. I took the end chair. I kept the rhythm, and the room learned to keep mine. The first betrayal was quiet. No shouting, no door slamming, just a decision made without my name. It was the summer Jenna dropped out of college. Mother called me to the kitchen. The table was cleared, the smell of lemon polish still sharp. You'll help with tuition again, she said, sliding a paper toward me. Her nails tapped the signature line. I looked at the numbers. My own handwriting already filled in from last time. She had reused the same form, changed only the date. The pen waited beside it. The silence stretched until the refrigerator clicked. That was the pattern: requests disguised as love, debts dressed as loyalty. I signed. The paper wrinkled under my palm where sweat met ink. When the loan failed, the calls came to me, not to her. Mother said, "You're better with responsibility." That sentence closed the file on everything else. I stopped explaining myself after that. At dinners, I counted the number of chairs, the number of glances I didn't receive. Each word I didn't say became part of the furniture. My throat learned to hold air instead of answers. Years folded into routine. When money ran short, my name surfaced. When praise was handed out, it drifted elsewhere. The photograph in the hallway aged better than we did. Once, Rick tried to speak for me. Mother's eyes cut across the table. He looked down, stirring his coffee until the sound disappeared. That was when I understood. Silence was safer. My hands grew used to stillness. I kept them flat on my lap, wrists aligned, voice withheld. They called it maturity. I called it maintenance. They got comfortable with my silence. They thought it meant obedience. The pattern stayed. Different rooms. Same choreography. Now the table was longer. The plates newer. The voices older. They still gathered under bright light. And I still took the end chair. Mother's tone carried the same shape. She spoke in statements that sounded like facts. "You always forget to smile in photos," she said, brushing crumbs toward me. "You make people uncomfortable when you go quiet." The guests nodded, unsure what they were agreeing to. I folded a napkin twice, then once more. The sound of the fold was louder than the words. Money replaced chores. But the balance never changed. I paid deposits. Jenna chose venues. I covered gaps when numbers didn't align. The receipts stacked in a thin folder near my purse. Every page had my name. None had theirs. The belittling came in stages now. Subtle, polished, delivered with laughter. Mother liked an audience. "Tiffany's always been our responsible one," she said. "She doesn't mind helping." "To you." She said it. She said it again. She said it once more. Each time, the table laughed softer, as if realizing the joke wasn't won. Jenna leaned across her plate. "You'll make sure the final payment clears." "Right. We're tight till the honeymoon." Her bracelet tapped the stem of her glass. Tap, tap, tap. The rhythm stayed after her hand moved. I watched the ring on her finger catch the light. She hadn't bought it. The air carried a practiced tension, light but stretched. Forks touched plates, glass against glass. Every sound neat, rehearsed. I nodded. I always nodded. The waiter passed by with the check and placed it near me. He didn't ask. He already knew. Don't glare, honey, Mother said, smiling at the guests. Tiffany's just quiet. She gets that from her father. The mention cut the air thin. I stared at the envelope under the billfold. The line of numbers written by another hand. They praised her laughter, her dress, her glow. I paid for the glow. I stayed invisible behind it. The pattern repeated until sound blurred. Chairs scraped. Someone dropped a spoon. I didn't look up. The witness room was full. Aunts, cousins, friends from church. Laughter echoed against glass walls. Every sound had edges. I poured water into the nearest glass. The pitcher caught the light, refracting it across the white tablecloth. Jenna's voice floated above the noise. Tiffany, can you move down? You're blocking the photographer. The chair legs scraped the floor. Everyone watched. No one spoke. I shifted to the corner. The same seat, just smaller. The camera flash caught Mother's smile, perfect, unbothered. Behind it, I could see the photographer's hesitation, his lens lowering as if to apologize. Rick stood near the buffet, hands in pockets. Our eyes met for a second. He looked away, slow and deliberate, the way people do when truth isn't safe to touch. Then came the exchange. Jenna waved the event folder like a prop. Don't forget to bring your card, sis. We need the venue balance by Friday. The guests laughed. She's basically the sponsor. Someone said, family discount. I stayed still. My hand found the napkin ring. Cold and round. I rolled it between my fingers until it left a faint mark. They called it family tradition. It looked more like inventory. Each of them took something attention. Comfort, credit. The folder stayed open beside my plate. My name on the receipt showing through the paper. The line they crossed came quietly. Mother raised her glass. To Jenna, to love, and to Tiffany for always taking care of us. Applause, flash, laughter. No one noticed the tremor of the water in my glass. Something in the air cracked. Silent, but clear. I sat straight, spine against the chair back, watching their smiles align. The table blurred at the edges, voices folding into static. The glass was still in my hand. Half full, no ripple. My throat tightened, not with words, but with absence. The hum in my ear steadied until it felt like calm. Something in me stopped listening. The next morning looked the same. Coffee, dishes, the faint hum of the refrigerator. Light moved across the counter in pale stripes. I moved with it. The group chat buzzed again. Wedding updates, emoji laughter, links to floral arrangements. My phone face down, screen blinking against the wood. I let it. I loaded dishes, straightened chairs, folded receipts into neat lines. Routine steadied the air. Silence wrapped around each movement. Clean and exact. Jenna posted another photo, her ring beside a champagne glass. Caption, 12 days until forever. I read it once. Then, again. Then once more. The light from the screen left a reflection on my wrist. I poured water. Slow. The sound met the edge of the glass. Thin and steady. Something about that still sound filled the room more than words ever had. At work, I opened spreadsheets, balanced columns. My hands no longer trembled when I signed my name. The numbers lined up. Obedient. Precise. By evening, I stood by the window. City, light, catching the rim of my mug. The reflection of my face didn't move. The hum of a neighbor's TV filtered through the wall. Familiar noise. Nothing new. Then, a small crack in the quiet. The thought that none of them would change. Not the table, Not the laughter. Not the seat. The pattern was fixed. Only I wasn't. I picked up the folder from the shelf. The paper inside had weight, real and specific. Each line item, a record of what I had carried. Breath in, breath out. No tremor. No pause. My hands were steady now. The air tasted metallic. Clean. I placed the folder in my bag. Zipped it once. The sound cut through the quiet. A small, decisive click. At that moment, nothing in me reached outward. The need to explain, to please, to ask, gone. Something in me went quiet for good. Outside, the street lamp flickered, then held steady. The room dimmed to soft beige. I stood in it, neither waiting nor reacting. The clock ticked once, then stopped for a beat too long. The house was silent. The kind that makes clocks louder. I moved through the rooms, turning off lights one by one. The dim corners stayed still. In the hallway, the family photo hung crooked again. I didn't straighten it this time. My hand hovered, then fell back to my side. I sat at the table where everything had started. The same chair. The same faint wobble. A pale lamp threw gold against the papers in front of me. Receipts. Contracts. Printed emails. The proof of everything they never saw. My phone buzzed once. Another message from Mother. Need you to confirm the venue deposit tomorrow. I stared at the words until they blurred. Then I typed a single letter, then erased it. The screen went dark. I opened the folder, slid each page into a clean stack. Numbers, dates, signatures. They aligned perfectly. My signature was the constant, quiet and final. I sealed the folder with a small strip of tape. The sound cut through the still air like a line drawn across a page. The refrigerator clicked. The hum returned. Outside, a car door shut. The world went on. I whispered a word that only I heard. Enough. Then I placed the folder inside my bag, next to the phone still glowing faint blue. My movements were measured, each one deliberate. Slow. Sure. The power wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It was in the steadiness of my hands, the calm weight in my chest. I stood, pushed the chair in, aligned it with the table edge, everything back in order. For a moment, the lamp caught the surface of the envelope, glinting faint gold. Then the light shifted, and it was just paper again. I locked the door behind me. The click echoed clean. They still thought I was quiet because I was small. They were about to learn what silence could hold. The venue smelled of polished glass and lilies. White light bounced off every surface, too clean to hide anything. Chairs lined in rows, silver frames, catching glints from overhead fixtures. I walked in through the side door, unnoticed at first. Laughter floated, layered over clinking glasses. My mother stood near the center, giving instructions to a planner holding a clipboard. We'll confirm everything today, she said, her tone crisp, confident. The crowd of bridesmaids nodded, their dresses reflecting pale gold. I moved quietly, each step landing inside the rhythm of the room. People thought I was there to fix something. I always was. My bag hung by my side, the folder inside pressing lightly against my hip. The coordinator, Melissa, caught my eye first. Her smile froze halfway, polite but uncertain. "Hi, Tiffany," she said softly, voice dipping as she noticed my calm posture. Her clipboard shifted slightly, papers rustling like dry leaves. I nodded once. No greeting. My hand touched the folder. The edge felt cool, straight. Across the room, Jenna's voice cut through the chatter. "There she is. Mom, tell her we still need the balance. They won't hold the date if she delays." Her laugh followed. Easy. Public. Eyes turned toward me. I kept walking. The air tightened. Sound falling into fragments. Heels on marble. Glass stems touching. Faint hum of lighting overhead. I stopped at the table near the center. Mother turned, smiling as if she had summoned me. We were just talking about you, she said. You'll handle the final transfer today. Yes. Two short sentences. One long silence. I opened the folder. The paper rustled, sharp and dry. I laid the contract flat on the table, smoothing it with both hands. My signature was clear, the ink deep black under the lights. The booking was made under my name. I said, each word measured, steady. A pause stretched. Then another. Jenna frowned, confused. You mean you just handled the payment part? Right. Her laugh cracked mid-sentence. Melissa stepped closer, holding her clipboard tighter. No, she said, almost whispering. The venue belongs to whoever signed the primary contract. Her words hung like static. Someone dropped a fork. The sound echoed, metallic and final. Mother's face froze first, her smile refusing to settle. That can't be right, she said, looking from Melissa to me. We've been planning this for months. I slid the top page forward, revealing the line with my name. The ink gleamed under the light, every detail intact. The hall went still. No hum, no whisper, only the sound of fabric shifting as people leaned closer to see. Jenna's hand moved toward the paper, then stopped midair. You're not serious, she said, voice thinning. I didn't answer. The silence did it for me. The paper stayed between us, white under white light, every name printed, every amount exact. My signature, the only one that mattered. Mother reached for the page. Her bracelet clinked against the table. We'll fix this, she said, voice soft but frayed. We'll move it to Jenna's name. Melissa didn't move. I'm sorry, she said, eyes steady. It can't be transferred. The contract belongs to Tiffany Moore. Gasps broke through the silence like cracks in glass. The guests shifted. Dresses rustled. A chair scraped against the floor. Jenna laughed once, thin and sharp. You're bluffing. She turned toward the coordinator. Tell her she can't just. Melissa shook her head, folding her clipboard close to her chest. The balance was due last night, since Ms. Moore requested cancellation. The venue is closed for this date. The words landed like glass breaking in water, quiet but absolute. Mother's mouth opened, then closed again. Jenna's face drained, her lipstick too bright against the still air. Around them, the room adjusted to the truth. People stepped back. No one spoke. I slid the folder back into my bag. The rustle of paper sounded louder than their breathing, my movements unhurried, deliberate. The planner tried to speak, her voice small. Should I reschedule? I met her eyes. No. The light overhead flickered once, then steadied, bleaching everything to silver. Their reflections glimmered in the polished floor bent, incomplete. Rick stood by the door now, silent witness again. He looked at me, not with surprise, but something close to recognition. He gave one slow nod. That was enough. Jenna's fiancé muttered, "So, it's cancelled." No one answered him. The silence that followed was heavier than the noise before it. Breaths stalled. Fingers tightened around napkins. The smell of lilies turned sharp in the heat of the lights. I adjusted the strap of my bag, straightened my coat. The air around me felt still, thin, finished. Mother tried one more line. You've made your point. I didn't look back. The house wasn't theirs anymore. I turned toward the exit, steps soft against the marble. Behind me, Isabest Tuen. Voice rose, then fell again, into static. Outside, sunlight met glass doors. It was too bright to look at directly. I kept walking until the sound faded, replaced by my own measured breath. No one followed. No one called my name. No one spoke after that. The room didn't move. Light stayed suspended in the air. Every breath waited. Every sound held itself back. Mother's hand still hovered near the contract. Fingers curved, but frozen. Jenna stared at the blank space where laughter used to live. No one reached for the glass or the fork or the folded napkin beside it. The air turned heavy with stillness. The lilies on the table drooped. Their scent lingered, faint and sharp. I stood there, unmoving, until their reflections in the floor stopped shaking. One long breath passed through the hall, collective but uneven. I caught the tail of it and let it go. Rick moved first. He stepped forward, then stopped short, eyes tracing the space between me and them. His shoes made the only sound one careful shift of weight against marble. Mother blinked once. Her mouth opened, but nothing followed. Jenna brushed her dress where no dust existed. Melissa closed her clipboard without looking up. The sound of that single click broke the spell. Chairs creaked. Someone coughed. A door opened somewhere behind us, letting a thin draft through the corridor. The air cooled instantly. I gathered the folder from the table. Smooth surface. No wrinkles. My hand steady. Grip exact. Footsteps began to scatter. Soft and uncertain. A whisper. A shuffle. The faint scrape of a heel. People were leaving now, but no one said goodbye. Mother turned away first, voice small, directing no one. "Clean this up," she said to the air. Her reflection passed me on the glass door, faded and pale. Jenna followed, head low, her dress brushing the chair leg, fabric hissing against metal. The noise trailed her out. When the last movement stopped, silence returned. Wider than before, I stood in it. My pulse, the only rhythm left. I looked once at the table. The papers, the empty glasses, the wilted flowers. The scene was clean now, almost still life. The air from the open door brushed my arm. I let it. I turned. The heel of my shoe pressed against marble. A small echo answered back, soft and hollow. Outside, the air was cooler. It moved slowly, brushing the edges of my sleeves. The light from the doorway followed me a few steps, then stopped. I walked toward the parking lot, gravel under my shoes. Each step, a clean sound. Even, final. The sun hung low, thin gold spreading across the asphalt. The folder sat inside my bag, weightless now. No paper could hold what had already shifted. I touched the zipper once, then let it be. A breeze lifted the hem of my coat. The faint smell of lilies clung to the fabric, softer now, almost gone. I passed a man sweeping near the curb. He didn't look up. A car door shut somewhere, dull and distant. The noise folded into the evening. For the first time, my breath matched the rhythm of the air. Inhale, exhale, equal. No tension left in the chest. The sky dimmed from silver to pale beige. Streetlights flickered, one after another, slow and deliberate. I stopped under the nearest one. Its glow flattened the shadows, leaving everything bare. I looked back once. The hall's glass walls caught the last bit of sun. Inside, movement continued, figures, crossing, in voice small, directionless. Then the glass turned reflective, and I saw only myself. A still outline, neither part of the scene nor apart from it. Just there. I reached for the door handle of my car. The metal felt cool, the kind of cool that keeps its shape. I closed the door without sound. The air inside was muted, almost weightless. My hand rested on the steering wheel. I didn't start the engine. The world could move without me for a while. Somewhere behind, the venue lights dimmed. The glass stopped glowing. Peace doesn't need witnesses. The light faded against the glass, soft and exact. I stayed until the wind forgot my name.